Alright, hello the people. Gonna be doing some more casting today. I haven't really been casting too much. I mean, I'm trying to pick it back up a little bit. I'm pretty much been doing it like every other day or so, usually around this time. I'm not really, not a lot of people watch my casts yet, and I really just want to get better at it first before I really start casting on a daily basis or something like that. And I've been meaning to a lot more, but right now I'm not sure what my schedule is going to be like in the future. So for now, I'm just going to have to cast whenever I have time to, and then when I do have a more definite schedule, I can have a more definite schedule for casting. So, but anyways, without further ado, let's go right into these games. Yeah. Make sure I hit the right hotkey this time. I believe it's working. Yes, I believe it is working. Alright, well, today we're going to be casting EGIdrA, and it looks like he spawned at the northern position here, kind of also known as the top right. It's kind of like the top left, I suppose, in a way, if you tilt the map a little bit, but it's the center. But anyways, he's our green Zerg player here, and his opponent is EGDeMusliM. I believe these are just some practice games I'm going to be casting today, but it is a set, so I'm going to be doing a set of 3. It's actually a set of 5, but like the last 2 are just kind of like SCV rushes and whatnot, and I'm not going to show you guys that, and I'm not going to waste your time and my time and all that. So anyways, not much going on quite yet. It is Zerg against Terran on Metalopolis. We'll see how the Terran decides to wall in, if he does decide to wall in. That's usually a good idea against Zerg. Okay, so there's that first supply depot going down. And I believe there's going to be a barracks right next to it, possibly a command center. Who knows? I sure don't. But this is Metalopolis, so it's not the biggest map in the world, but it's not like the tiniest map in the world. Close positions is pretty close, but usually a command center after that supply depot is a bit of a risky move. I mean, actually a highly risky move, because they're going to just like bust in there and like destroy you. So we don't go there. We don't go there. Anyways, looks like this Overlord chose not to turn back. Pretty much a good idea. I mean, not the worst idea, I'm saying, because usually there is an SV or probe out there going to be checking that blind spot, seeing if there's an Overlord there, and then it's not going to get as much intel as you might want it to. So looks like EGIdrA is going to be going for that pool first, or hatch first, excuse me, right on 14. Yep, hatch first at the natural. Overlord coming out, seeing that refinery. And, well, with that Overlord there, he doesn't have to bring a drone over to see that refinery. He knows that, okay, Terran is not going to be going for a bunker rush or something like that. So I can put that hatchery down pretty safely. And, I'm not actually 100% sure in these positions on this map if EGIdrA would be, putting a pool down first if he saw 2 barracks or not. But, for now, just going with that hatchery, and that pool is going down now as well. I do know that EGIdrA likes to delay the gas a little bit more than he used to in the early days of StarCraft 2. Delay it just a little bit longer so that you can crank out a couple of extra drones without having to get that gas. I mean, without having to pull guys out of the minerals to get the gas. Because that does slow down your drone timing a little bit. So you might as well just crank out a couple of extra drones, and then you can get the gas when you really need it. Actually, it looks like there is a 2 barracks, or no, it's a 1 barracks play. Okay, I was wondering about that. But yeah, Marines are on the way. We'll see how EGIdrA deals with this. He does have an SCV with him to place down that bunker. Where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? It's going to be in the corner? Yeah? Corner? No? Yeah? Well, the drones haven't pulled off. Maybe he's just going to pull his Marines back. It did cause a lot of damage with that delayed mining time. That's 7 drones that are not, haven't been mining. That, that's actually a lot more money than you might expect. And, okay, so the SCV's coming back with his Marine buddies, possibly going to be throwing down a bunker. There's that bunker going down right at the edge of the ramp here. And we'll see how EGIdrA deals with this. He does have 2 Zerglings coming out. Actually, just got, well, it's actually 4. 2 sets of Zerglings coming out. And, well, there's another set here already. Already 6 Zerglings out, going to be killing off those Marines. And, well, DeMusliM is going to be forced to retreat. Doing a little bit of the kiting action. Going to be, well, doing a little bit of extra damage. 2 Zerglings lost there against 2 Marines. Pretty good exchange for EGIdrA. And as well, he has to cancel this bunker, which is, what is it, 25 wasted minerals plus the SC mining time. So maybe like 30 minerals, 35, 40 minerals. You know, because this is a pretty far away position from that mineral line, so I mean, it does add up. It does add up to quite a bit, you know, those 7 drones early on add up to quite a bit, you know, like you pull them off for quite a while. You know, you pull them off for like, say 10 seconds. You know, that's like over 100 minerals you just lost. Like, that's how big of a deal it is. And, well, looks like EGIdrA is going to be placing down a couple of spine crawlers here for some extra defense. And wow, I just noticed Terran is double expanding. He is, well, it looks like the Zergling's coming in here. Did he get in there? Nope, he did not get in there. Had to retreat. Well, there's a Hellion out now. And, well, this is something you have to deal with, Zerg, as Zerg. You know, like, it's not easy to bust in there. You know, of course, you could send some Zerglings out to deny this command center, deny the other command center if he scouts it, but it's just so hard to bust in here as Zerg. You can't just, like, say, oh, I'm going to bust in there right now, and then, like, oh, I got to put up a Baneling Nest first. Oh, you got to get some Overlords. Oh, I got to get some gas for it. Oh, I got to get some Zerglings for it. And it's like, by the time you get there, like, he already has a ton of defense, so... Like, you have to decide to bust before this even happens, so this is actually, you know, really annoying to deal with. And, well, there's 3 Hellions on the way to EGIdRA's base, but as you can see, once again, there's 2 spine crawlers. I believe EGIdRA's going to be just fine, you know. The Muslim is not a bad player. He's not going to try to suicide his Hellions in there to get as many drone kills as possible, so it might not work out. You know, he's going to lose one just going in there. Plus the Zerglings are here, so, you know, it's not a good idea. So anyways, let's look at the unit counting tab. 41 drones already, that's 25 SCVs, so yeah, EGIdRA, of course, just being a baller, getting out so many drones at the 7-minute mark, like, that's pretty nuts. Like, I can get, like, 80 out at, like, I don't know, like, 14, like, I guess maybe even 12 minutes now. But... you know, being able to defend something like this while getting up 47 drones is pretty darn ridiculous. Anyways, looks like EGIdRA is going to be going for that Baneling Nest, pretty trademark of him. He always does go pretty much every game he goes, you know, Zerglings, Banelings, and Mutas. And then transitions into Broodlords or something like that, you know. Against Terran anyway, because it is just such a strong thing. And that's the thing about EGIdRA. You know, his plays are extremely predictable, but he plays them so well that it doesn't even matter if you know what he's doing, because he's just going to destroy you anyways. Like, that's something pretty respectable right there, you know, saying, oh, I'm not going to surprise you. You know, this is what I'm going to be doing. You know, and you're still going to be screwed because I'm just that good, you know. Like, how many people can actually say that? Anyways, macro hatch going down. Looks like Zerglings have their speed, and the Hellions are rolling in here trying to do a little bit of damage to these Queens, but the Queens, being such a hardy unit, going to be just fine. Ooh, Creep Tumor getting picked off there. No cancellation on that. And, well, these 2 Queens are going to be defending for now. But, yeah, the 2 bases are up and running, and I believe there's probably going to be a ton of SVs coming out here. But at the same time, with that Spire at that timing, you know, EGIdRA has it so timed out, you know, with his gas and his layer tech and his Spire, that, you know, if you try to get away with taking 2 bases like that, I believe EGIdRA is going to get in there and deal tons of damage with his Mutas. I mean, how many turrets you really want to throw up right now? You know? Like, you got to protect this, you got to protect that, you got to protect this, and you got to protect that. Now, of course, you do have some ground forces, some Marines here that are going to help you out, but that's a lot of surface area, that's a lot of distance. Your Marines are not going to be able to be in all places at once. So we'll see what happens with that. You know, of course, EGIdRA could also send in some Zerglings for the reinforcements. And while these Hellions getting caught off guard, I did not expect them to just sit there. They kind of just sat there and took it from those Zerglings. Lost a couple of Hellions there. Killed off a couple of Zerglings, but I mean, not nearly an even trade. And, well, wow, EGIdRA just kind of expanding behind these Hellions and saying, you know what, I don't care if they're there. You know, you can attack my expansion all day long. You're not going to get anywhere. But anyways, looks like there is a big push out here from EGDeMusliM. He does have 1 tank with that. Looks like no stim, and combat shield is finished, so that does help out quite a bit. Spire is just finishing up here, and some Banelings being morphed. They just finished being morphed, and now the Hellions. You know, the Hellions, of course, you know, I don't think, yeah, they don't have the blue flame, so, well, it looks like this tank is in, like, the best possible position behind the statue by the trees. Not very much surface area for that, but, I don't know. EGDeMusliM really needs to get rid of this Creep Tumor. You know, with that Creep Tumor there, you can't really go in there. If you go in there, you're just going to get smashed, because EGIdRA is You just, you know, all these Zerglings on creep, like your tank's not going to do much. So you kill off the creep, and then it's really hard for those Zerglings to actually do some damage. Anyways, lots more Marines and one more tank popping in here, just reinforcing this contain a little bit, which won't be contained for too long once the creep descends. But, well, it looks like there's another creep trooper going up there, so I don't know if the Muslim's going to be scanning it or not, but that's going to be spreading some creep on the lower ground. And, well, EGIdrA, you know, I'm sure making a bunch of mutas right now. He's got 4 more on the way, in addition to these 5, so I don't know. This Muslim is going to have a hard time defending all this right now, you know. Of course, EGIdrA dealing with this contain as well, so this is kind of a predicament for both players. You know, once those mutas start rolling out, where are they? They're just kind of chilling in the center here. I think he's just waiting for a couple more, and he's going to go in there. Meanwhile, it looks like the Marines are spread out really well. They do not have stim still. The stim is halfway finished, +1 as well. And while the Zerglings are coming in here, Banelings exploding everywhere, and the Mutalisks are cleaning up the place as well. Just lots of Zerglings for EGIdrA here. Just not very much for EGDeMusliM. And, you know, I have the hardest time with this, and I think it's because I'm not able to produce so many drones early on. You know, I can produce so many drones early on. Now I can just produce guys, like, out the A, you know, like... He has a 3rd base up. He hasn't been mining from it, mind you. He just has so many drones at his main and his natural. I can't get over that. I really just can't. Zergling's coming in here too, the 3rd here for EGDeMusliM. EGDeMusliM does not have any defense here at all. Zerglings are going to have to be imported from the natural, and there aren't even that many there. So it looks like EGDeMusliM going to be losing its expansion, at least going to be forced to lift off, losing all the SVs. There's even some supply depots there. That's going to be all lost, and that's kind of a tragedy. But hey, you know, you gotta defend your base with a little bit of extra whatever, you know, but the placement probably not the best, but, you know, EGDeMusliM trying to bite off a lot more than I think he could have chewed with EGIdrA here, you know, just, you know, it looks like he's building some more barracks and whatnot, you know, making sure he doesn't get too high of a money situation, but I don't know, EGIdRA's just so good. So many mutas running around. And, well, I don't believe they've gone into the base yet. Yeah, they have not even looked at this base yet, and that's totally cool, because, I mean, you know, EGIdRA's not the kind of person that's like, okay, I think you're bad, you're not going to have missile turrets, you know. He's thinking, okay, there's more than likely going to be a lot of missile turrets, I'm not going to roll in there too quickly, you know. He's going in at a good time, he has a pretty good muta count. And, well, Marines are going to have to come out of the natural to the main here, and that's going to leave it pretty, well, actually there's a lot of Marines here still. But yeah, the Zerglings, Banelings could totally roll in there, do a bunch of damage, but it looks like EGIdRA is going to be playing it safe, taking the expansion, just getting out some more drones and all of that. 77 drones now, 62 lings, that's quite a bit, just kind of hanging around in various locations. Oh wow, he's going to be doing a drop. I did not even see the drop tech going down, and there's 2 full Overlords here, 1 nearly full, and there's a lot of Zerglings in those. You know, once he, you know, if he cleans up these Marines, actually the mutas could actually do even more damage. And, well, I'm surprised he's not loading it up with Banelings, because he could really just do a pretty good Baneling drop right now. You know, like, you can't expect your opponent to have, like, all of his Marines in the main, you know? Like, EGDeMusliM's better than that. He knows, like, oh, I gotta split up my forces so I don't get raped at the natural. But anyways, there's not even a supply depot back here, and it looks like these Marines going to be engaging. And while missile turrets are going up as well, I apologize for the little bit of laggy screen here, but there's a lot going on right now. Muta's coming in here, and this missile turret is going to be picked off before the Marines come. And now the Marines are here. The Mutas are going to have to run away. Looks like not a lot of SV kills there, if at all, but you know, still a pretty good win there. Just going in there, picking off some Marines. You know, it was a good try. It's always good to try like that. And wow, EGDeMusliM going to be trying to take the 3rd here at the gold. He already mined a little bit from the natural 3rd, I suppose. But yeah, that's going to be destroyed immediately, because you got to make sure you take the watchtower before you take that 3rd, or at least defend it with something. I mean, all these Marines and things are just so far away. EGDeMusliM just being a little bit slow, I guess. I don't know if that's just him being a little bit slow, or just deciding, okay, maybe the muta's going to be coming back to the main. I need to be careful. And well, there's a lot of... Okay, wow, the Zergling's coming in as well. I did not expect that. I thought he was just going to be like, okay, I got to back out now. But now the Zergling's coming in, destroying all the tanks, and this expansion is going to be going down once again. Actually, I think the last one survived, and this is the same one, I believe, is what I mean to say. But now there's just some Banelings and a bunch of Zerglings. These Marines are going to be have to run away. And there's a pretty good split going on, but just not split good enough. And, okay, wow, okay, he took care of that really, really well. And EGIdrA is going to be forced to retreat. Had tech on the way. He's going to probably be going for those Brewlords soon. Looks like no +1 attack for the aerial units, so actually might be going for Ultras or something like that. You know, Ultras, since they build faster now, you know, I'm sure a lot of players are playing around with that a lot more. I certainly have. And just getting out Ultras a little bit earlier is always nice to have. Like, I start my hive, I don't know, whenever I can, I guess, but... anyways, the Muslim rolling in here. He does have a couple of thirds here with a bunch of Marines. And, well, that tank is sieging up a little bit late. You know, there's a lot of creep over here. I'm sure he wanted to get out of the creep, but there's just too many Banelings exploding on everything, and that's a lot of green. More Marines floating in here, but there's a lot of mutas here. I don't believe there's going to be enough Marines here to deal with that. Banelings exploding, there is still a tank alive, and those Marines are going to still survive. Actually, the tank's alive too. You're just cleaning up a big chunk of those Marines, but I think the Muslim is going to be slowly dying here as he doesn't have another base going up. And while there's some Zerglings in the main as well, I believe there was another drop with that Overlord. Marines are now cleaning it up, and EGIdrA just moving himself more and more into the lead. You know, he's doing pretty good right now. It looks like there's 81 drones to 54 SCVs. APM's pretty standard, stylish, and well, and just sitting pretty good with those Banelings and Zerglings. You know, he doesn't have like the best creep spread. Like I've noticed, he's not like extremely diligent about his creep spread. You know, he just spreads it enough to like be able to defend. And it's like, hey, you know, if you want to push past this point, you're gonna have to go on creep, or you know, destroy it and move back and then come back, or whatever. You know. So it delays pushes quite a bit, you know, for Terran, you know, and if Terran wants to roll in over the creep, they're just going to lose, like, everything. So, I mean, it's always good to have, but at the same time, you know, if you do it too much, you know, your opponent's just going to take it out, you don't have to, you know, that just sucks. Wow, my screen exploded a little bit too far there. Lots of lag here. I think it's because I changed the settings on StarCraft. I wanted it to lag a little bit less, and I should have probably, you know, quit StarCraft and reloaded it, but well, I might do that for the next one real quick. Well, there's some Banelings being morphed here. Lots of Marines are coming in here. He did kill off a lot of creep tumors here, and even if this engagement fails, you know, that creep is gone. That's going to be quite a good thing for later on. But at the same time, it doesn't have any more bases, so this is pretty much it. You know, there's really not much the Muslim is going to have after this attack. You know, there's just a lot of mutants out here, and if you clean up enough Marines, you know, those Thors are going to die pretty easily as well. So, I mean, yeah, the Muslim giving the GG and EGIdrA being just so good. You know, a lot of people just say, oh, EGIdrA is so good, but, like, I feel like a lot of them just think that because, like, a lot of other people say that, and they say, well, he must be good, you know. But, like, there's just so many things about his play that's just so perfect, you know. It's you know, just to be honest here. Anyways, I think I'm going to restart StarCraft real quick. I'm not going to turn off the stream. I'd rather save this as a one thing. So, without further ado, let me exit real quick. Drink some honey water. Oh, man, damn it. Okay. I forgot I closed the Explorer. I have to open it. Whoops. Hopefully it won't lag as much. I don't know. I mean, it must be because I changed my settings, because usually it doesn't lag like that. That was like ridiculous. You know, I wanted to, I mean, I didn't really change the resolution that much, but... Alright. Close it pretty quick now. Alright, let's look for game number 2. Game number 2. Where are you? There you are. Alright. Yes, it is a GSL map. Which map? I don't even know. We'll find out in just a second. Yeah, okay, there we go. Alright, so EGDeMusliM has spawned at the top left as our teal Terran. And we have EGIdrA spawned at the bottom right as our green Zerg player. And it looks like we are playing on Crevasse. Crevasse, one of my favorite maps just because it's ice, you know. Like, people don't like ice maps because it's so bright. You know, people have, or, you know, a couple people actually have informed me that ice maps, you know, there weren't a lot of ice maps in Brood War, and the reason for that is, it's just so bright, you know, like, you don't want to look at a white screen when you're playing StarCraft. You know, it's just such a big contrast difference, and, you know, it's not good for your eyes and whatnot, so, I mean, I'm glad that this map isn't that bright. You know, there's a lot of darker terrain on here. You know, a lot of ice, a lot of snow. Well, actually not that much snow, I should say, because there isn't, first of all, and second of all, because that would have contradicted me. Anyways, into the game we go. Supply depot going up at the natural. Choke points at the top of the ramp. Not at the natural expansion, because this is Crevasse. You do have that in-base expansion with 6 minerals. Yeah, actually, it is 6. I almost wanted to say 5. It looked like 5 for a second, and I was like, wait a minute. It's actually 6 here. But there is a rich Vespian geyser there, which means you just haul gas out of there faster. It pretty much makes it like a gas and a half. It's not really like a standard gas, but it's not like one. I mean, yeah, it's not like having one gas there. You shouldn't say that this is, oh, there's only one gas at this expansion. It's a rich one. You know, I want to point that out because you do mine gas from it faster. You know, you get like 6 out of it, I think, instead of 4. That's what I want to say it is. I'm not even 100% sure on that. But anyways, it looks like EGDeMusliM is going to be going for a fairly fast refinery. Pretty typical standard opening for Terran. And once that barracks is finished, I believe he's going to have enough for that orbital commands. Or not. Apparently just going to crank out another SCV first. What is he? Oh, okay, built that supply depot. A little bit early, but, well, he's going to get that orbital command up going right now. And looks like EGIdrA did decide to expand first once again. However, it looks like he's gotten an extractor really quickly here, which is a little bit more unusual, you know, for EGIdrA right now. You know, that's something that I used to do a lot. You know, I'd get the hatchery extractor pool. Now he's been going more hatchery pool and then extractor. So now it's like, I don't know, he's just getting that extractor a little bit earlier this game than he has been lately. And that's just going to allow him to get up that Zergling speed soon after that pool finishes. And then, well, you know, not exactly, but, you know, he did get it a little bit sooner than normal. And that's just going to allow him to do some good scouting. You know, it's a big map. You want to scout it, you know, watch the watchtowers, first of all. Second of all, you know, maybe bust in there. You know, this is a fairly wide ramp. You know, it's small until you break down the destructible debris. Once that debris is gone, you know, it's really hard for Terran to really defend it. But we'll see what he does. You know, if he puts another building there, he could be totally fine. And, well, also on this map, you know, with that expansion in your base, you know, a lot of players go for that. You know, they expand, like, on 15, you know, instead of getting that barracks first. And so, I mean, EGIdrA might be trying to bank on that, saying, okay, he might have fast expanded, so I want to maybe bust in there, you know, let's get up the speed just in case. Meanwhile, it does look like there's 2 Marines out here with an SCV just threatening that bunker. And it looks like, well, the SCV is now no longer an SCV, is now a pile of trash. And while the Zerglings are out, going to be chasing out that Marine, 4 to be exact. And now, once that speed finishes, he can lay down some pressure. Alright, wow, EGDeMusliM is going to be expanding at the bottom here. Actually, taking a double expansion. And I'm not sure if this is more of like a practice thing going on between them. They're like, okay, you know, EGIdrA says to EGDeMusliM, okay, I want you to double expand, and, you know, I'm going to see what I can do about it. Or maybe EGDeMuslim's asking EGIdrA, you know, maybe you can, you know, I'm going to double expand, I'm going to try to get away with it, I want you to stop me, or I want you to, you know, play a certain way, or, you know, I just want to see if I can get away with it. So that's usually how practice goes. And while the Zerglings have scouted the front, they do see those Hellions. And even that tree getting, wow, that tree just like lit up in flames, like, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, now it's all toasty, a charred tree. Well, anyways, the Hellions are on their way, and while the creep tumors are out and set, Actually, there's Roach Warren up as well, so I believe EGIdrA is going to be defending with roaches instead of doing his normal creep tumor, or I mean normal, jeez. The guys at the, wow, it's spine crawlers. I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, because it's such a big, large or a main here, I want to call it the natural because I feel like this is the main, but since it's such a large main, you know, you have to get your creep tumors over there and everything, and then set up the, you know, the wow, well, spine crawlers. So I believe he's just getting up those roaches to deal with that, and then of course you can zone the map with these roaches. So looks like the roaches are on the way. Zerglings are now kind of running around, trying not to get flamed, and well, there's no blue flame, but there is stim on the way and concussive shells now. So marauders are coming out to deal with these roaches. And there is a bunker going down as well. But yeah, this base is going to have to lift off or something. And wow, even cancels that. It was like a second away from being done. He cancels it and says, you know what, I got to get out of here right frickin' now. But yeah, there's a lot of Hellions out here, and a lot of roaches, and a lot of Zerglings just kind of taking out the rocks here. They want to really bust it down to get into the base here. And roaches just kind of doing what they try, you know, what they can. Excuse me, and EGIdrA gives the GG. Wow, trying to bust in there, fails, and says, you know what, good game, I lose. You know, with all those roaches gone, you know, there's too many marauders out and everything. You know, one thing I really hate about trying to bust in there with roaches, like, if your opponent knows about it, like sees it coming, sees the roaches on the way, they can get up a couple of marauders, and since marauders have, what, 6 range and roaches only have 4, you know, like, they can just shell away at those roaches behind the wall. So you really got to bust out this debris, and that's what EGIdrA was really trying for. Just couldn't really make it happen. Felt like he really needed to get in there right away, so he, you know, wanted to get his roaches up here to do some damage. I feel like he should have maybe pulled back and attacked the debris, but I'm not really sure. You know, I've run that in the simulator. I don't really know how that happens, if that does work out. But anyways, let's get on to game number 3. So I don't know if this was like a tournament. It's not, but if it was, it would be 1-1, and well, we'll see who wins then. Whoops, I did not mean to put that up. I meant to put that up. Alright. Okay, so we have EGIdrA spawned at the bottom here, also known as the bottom left, also known as the 730 position. And of course we have EGDeMusliM spawned at the what's like the 430 position, the 5 o'clock position, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's in the bottom right corner. But yeah, he's our teal Terran player. And well, it is Tal'Darim Altar. Fairly big map. A lot can happen on this map. Big macro games usually do occur here. And well, you know, a lot of players, I should say, want to do a faster expand since it is a big map. You know, it's somewhat of a small choke considering how big it is. You know, you can usually throw down a pretty good defense here while getting up an expansion. But then, of course, you have to worry about getting 6-pooled and all that. So, I mean, a lot of players are doing 6-pools on this map and all that. So, I mean, I do like the decision of putting down that supply depot at the wall here. And I think a lot of pro players are doing that now. I'm not sure how people on the ladder are doing it because I don't really ladder, but yeah, we'll see. I do wonder if he's going to be doing a command center or if he's going to be doing a barracks. Looks like he's got a really fast refinery, so that usually entails that there's going to be a really fast factory. Or it's going to be a Reaper. You know, I don't think it's going to be a Reaper though, because I don't know. I just have a feeling it might be. It might be. We'll see. We'll see. But I feel like it's going to be a fast factory. All right. Well, there's a barracks going down. It looked like it was delayed a little bit. You know, just the SV didn't get over there right away, but he's there now. Going to be building it just the same. Meanwhile, it looks like EGIdrA is going to be doing a hatchery first, right at the normal natural time of 14. And we'll see if he puts on a pool first. I don't believe he will be this time. He's probably going to be just going for that spawning pool, getting up the gas a little bit later. You know, it's a big map. You don't really have to have the Zerglings out right away. You know, he tried to bust in there last game. You know, that's something that EGIdrA doesn't really do. You know, that was actually really unique, seeing EGIdrA try to bust in there. Because, I mean, that's not what he's known for. That's not what he's usually good at. So, I mean, it was really kind of something, you know. If your opponent says, you know, I mean, a lot of times I see people read EGIdrA and they say, okay, you know what? He's just not going to be busted in here. I can get away with a lot. And then EGIdrA just still wins anyways. He's just that good. But, they allow EGIdrA to bust in there, but he just doesn't because, the timing won't work out with, the intel that he's getting. So, I mean, just being a good player, knowing that, okay, I can't really bust in there right now. I'm not going to try because by the time I get there, it's going to be too late. So I'm it's kind of cool to see him try to bust in there, and then, it was just kind of a big map, not really something that I would recommend. But anyways, looks like the hatchery is finished. Looks like there is a factory, no Reaper, unless he's building, no, that's a reactor. Alright, no Reapers. That's all going to be that fast factory. When you get that gas that soon, it pretty much entails that right as soon as that barracks finishes, you can switch it out, or I mean, you can build that factory. And then, of course, get the orbital just a little bit late. It's really, do you want the orbital a little bit late, or do you want the factory a little bit late? Most players say, hey, I want the orbital right away. I want my freaking mules. Mules are freaking awesome. But, looks like the Muslim just getting out that fast factory, going to be getting the super fast Hellions out. Looks like, look at the time. It's already 4:40. He's going to have some Hellions out here in just a minute. But again, it is a big map, so, I mean, there's a spy crawler going up, so I don't really believe he's going to be able to do too much. But at the same time, he could possibly sneak by into the main, do a whole bunch of damage to these drones. So, the two Hellions are out on the way, and they're going to be zoning the map, making sure Zerg does not expand or do anything crazy. It looks like the Muslim is taking a ninja expansion as well as his natural. So just doing like what he's been doing this whole time, double expanding, and we'll see if EGIdrA tries to bust in there again. He just got the speed started for his Zerglings. And I don't believe he's going to be busting in there anytime soon. We'll see when he takes that third, though, if he takes this base or not. Usually, you want to because it's close to home base. You just got to wait, take out the rocks, and it's such a pain. So, anyways, I don't believe EGIdrA is going to be going up there to check that. That's not usually something that players do. It's something they should do. That's, a hallmark of a good player, just always checking things. But, of course, this is not a tournament game. It's not like, it's nothing like that. Why waste your time doing that every single game when like 99% of the time there's not going to be anything there. But anyways, Zergling doing a little bit of scouting action, seeing what is going on in there, getting roasted by that Hellion. And, well, he saw everything he needed to see. He did his part for the hive, It's just his time. And, well, Hellions are now rolling in here. Queen, get back over there and attack him. What are you doing? You're a queen. That's your job. Well, it looks like these Hellions are just going to sit back and contain a little bit, make sure that EGIdrA does not come out of his base. If you do, I'll kill you. That's his thought right now. And, well, he doesn't have roaches, I don't believe. He's getting that layer, getting up normal stuff at the usual time. So I believe he's just doing his normal build right now. He's got 3 gases. He's probably going to be taking a 4th soon, and then get up that spire when that layer finishes. Baneling Nest, oh nope, Evolution Chamber going down. Where's the Baneling Nest? Looks like he skipped the Baneling Nest, so I don't know what is he doing this time. I'm not really even 100% sure. So usually he goes for that Baneling Nest around then, and then you don't have to worry about Marines and whatnot. But it looks like he's cutting that out right now. He's going to be going for faster mutas possibly. He's getting the layer a little bit sooner than normal. And his gas is a little bit, or, well, actually it's probably right on time. So yeah, okay, Baneling Nest is going down now. He's just getting that Evolution Chamber out, going to get some upgrades. It is a big map. He'll get those upgrades, so it's going to take a little bit longer for your opponent to get there. Big macro games are usually what happen. Big macro games means lots of upgrades. Because upgrades are good for your dudes later on in bigger battles. So, anyways, looks like the Muslim's going to be using mules up there mostly, but at the same time you want to send a couple of mules back here just to make sure that your opponent knows that you're muling it naturally, so you don't give away your extra base by, not having any mules at your base. Oh, wow, there's, okay, small engagement. Looks like the Zergling got roasted there. One Zergling anyway. And these Hellions just kind of chilling out, making sure that the Zerglings do not get too far out of their base. Looks like EGIdRA's going to be going around, though. This Hellions, how did he even... Apparently that was just, like, coincidence that they both moved to this side. So I don't believe there was a scan or anything. That was just kind of weird. Maybe they're sitting next to each other or something like that. That'd be kind of crazy. But anyways, Zerglings did come out of the main natural place. You can be checking around the map, it looks like. Yeah, I don't know if these guys are like talking to each other or like on Skype or like, I don't know, because like there's just a lot of craziness going on. Like, why would you send your Zerglings out here? Like, I don't think EGIdrA, well, maybe he's just checking around things, you know. I don't think he's actually going to be sending them to the base. But we'll find out if he does. Meanwhile, it does look like he's going to be taking out the rocks, going to be expanding. Mutas are just coming out now. And, well, he's going to be putting up a lot of creep tumors, it looks like, to help him expand. And look at that, it's a pretty classic wall in there with those bunkers, or the, or not bunkers, but, you know, splitty bows. And what are these Zerglings doing? They're like, you know, they're like hinting towards like, oh, I know you're there. Oh, I know you're there, but he's not going over there, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. He doesn't know it's there. And, well, maybe he's going to try to get in here, you know, do some more intel, get some more intel, I should say. Check for that third. And actually, around now is when you want to start checking for that third. And if he doesn't have a third here, or doesn't have a command center going up or pushing or something, you gotta be like, okay, he's got an expansion somewhere on the map. I gotta go find it, you know. So I mean, if EGIdrA started to look for it right now, I could understand, you know, after checking that third. Looks like the Zerglings are gonna try to squeeze by here, just maybe pick off the tank. Nope, just gonna be dying apparently. But well, gotta try. Well, there's a lot of overlords kind of hanging around in the natural here. They could be easy targets once this push commences. Looks like they're just gonna be chilling back. Nope, they're going for it right now. Looks like 3 tanks and a whole lot of Marines. Pretty standard stuff. Even 1 Marauder in there. I'm not sure if that was like a misclick or what. Generally speaking, you don't get 1 Marauder for shits and giggles, but maybe he did. And, well, you're just flying around. They know this army is on the approach. We'll see what EGIdrA does. He does have some banelings being morphed here. Some more Zerglings popping out. Actually, a lot of Zerglings. +1 attack for his flyers. Also known as his mutas. And, well... Banelings, you're not done yet? What? Well, a couple of Marines being picked off there. And now the Zerglings and Banelings, there's a couple of them, but there's a lot of tanks back here. You know, that's definitely enough tanks to destroy this force, you know, pretty easily with those Marines as backup. So, wow, that's a lot of drones right there. 58 drones to 63 SCVs, so that extra base really did help quite a bit. And, well, he's still getting good stuff from it, so I don't know. Income tab, let's see, what does it look like? 1900 to 1700 about. And he's going for it. Zerglings are coming in here now. Tanks kind of sieged up. Oh, that was a little bit too spread out, I believe. He was just a little bit too close on that creep. And now the Zerglings doing a bunch of damage. A couple of Marines on the outskirts can be taken out by those mutas. Or Zerglings popping in here. I don't know if they're really going to be able to do too much. They do have the +1 attack. These Marines do not have any plus upgrades at all. And it looks like they're just going to be taken out. Just for the record, the Zerglings actually deal quite a bit of damage to Marines if you have superior upgrades. You know, if the Marines have superior upgrades, they do massive, you know, you know, tons more damage to your Zerglings. So I mean, upgrades are so important in that confrontation. Like, I've just noticed that like more recently, that it is a really big deal. Like, I knew it was a big deal, but not like it's a big deal. I can't even tell you how much of a big deal it is if you don't know already. Alright, so that base still has not been discovered. I'm surprised EGIdrA has not been checking the third at all. He hasn't even sent a unit here ever, and that's really surprising to me. It looks like EGIdrA is going to be taking a fourth now. Decided to take his third at this position here. Kind of a late third. You know, it's hard on this map for Zerg to take a third. Now, generally speaking, you want to get up pretty soon, pretty early, you know, especially if your opponent's expanded. But EGIdrA just being forced to mine off just 2 bases for now. And, well, I really want him to check this expansion. You know, it's definitely around the time when you expand there. You know, it's way past that, actually, so, I mean, you really should be checking it just to see if there's, you know, a hidden base somewhere. Because, if you know, and then you could say, okay, he has this much army, so I don't think he's going to have a hidden base. You know, like, oh, he's two base all-inning me. You know, okay, I'm totally going to be fine with that. You know, that's probably what EGIdRA's thinking right now. But now, okay, now he's finally scouted it. Now he sees that there is no base there. His rocks are not even destroyed yet. And making it look like maybe maybe I want to expand now. Maybe he does want to take a fourth now. I don't know. You know, that's probably a good time for a fourth. But yeah, he's gonna have trouble defending it. Actually, for Terran, it's hard to defend this extra base as well. So I can understand not wanting to take it. But you know, right now EGIdrA should be saying, okay, he's got to have a base somewhere because that's not enough stuff. He's got to have more stuff than that. You know, by that time. So I mean, usually you can like max out at like 14 or 15 minutes at 200 food if you're off, you know, just working off 2 bases. If you have a third base, then you're just building SCVs, so you know you don't get as much of an army. You know, this army does not look like it's as big as it should be, type of thing. You know, so I mean, you might want to start checking, man. But anyways, looks like these Zerglings gonna be. Well, he knows that it's coming because of that watchtower, but Zergling's gonna be running back to the base. Gonna be morphing into some banelings apparently. And well, there's even more Zerglings out now. Alright, that's a lot of Marines though. That's just like way too many Marines. You gotta get those. Oh, those banelings gotta finish up. If they don't finish up, a lot of them. Oh man, a lot of them just being killed off right here. That's gonna be hell for EGIdrA here. I don't believe EGIdRA's gonna be pulling out of this one. There's just way too many Marines here. They're just kind of gunning forward here, just sprinting forward. Now I'm gonna siege up. Alright, now they're gonna siege up. Way past the boundaries where you usually would. And now the spine crawlers and things are just being taken out. There's really not much here for EGIdrA. He's actually really supply capped right now. Just losing all these overloads at the natural. You know, like I said before, that's just such a big thing. Anyways, there is a lot of mutas here, so I mean, he might be able to do some kind of damage. Looks like the Marines are actually exploding all over the battlefield here with those banelings detonating left and right. And there's only a handful of Marines left here. Now, once again, that's kind of like why creep is so important. Like with this creep here, like those Marines were easy targets. Without that creep, you know, those banelings would have had a much harder time. So, anyways, looks like EGIdrA is going to be forced to pull off some drones. You know, he doesn't really quite have the production he really wants. Well, actually, well, he just got it with that fourth, but I mean, and actually, he probably has a macro. Yeah, he does have a macro hatch, but usually you do want, you know, so many bases by a certain time as Zerg, so that, you know, you can keep using your money. First of all, and second of all, so you can just mine more money. You know, so it just helps you so significantly. Economically, you know, to spend your money and to get more. But yeah, since everything was kind of late for EGIdrA, you know, he's not, you know, doesn't really have a ton of Zerglings here, or you know, right away as he probably would have before. But yeah, he's got to be like, okay, there's got to be a base somewhere. He's checking around a little bit, just kind of not scouting as much as I wish he would. It looks like he does have a Zergling patrolling between some bases. He did set up a 5th back here. And just for record, it's actually really awesome. I realized this when I was playing. If you're about to lose a hatchery, or if your opponent's like threatening you with this big attack, just put up another hatchery somewhere else. Like if you lose that hatchery and not so many drones, and he pulls back, you can just send him to that other hatchery. You know, like how awesome is that? Like it's kind of like instant. You know, like you rebuild it before it's even gone, type of thing. You know, so it's like already there when it is gone. Of course, you know, that is kind of a waste. You know, it's not like I'm a pro player or anything like that. I'm sure these guys don't do that for a reason. But, you know, just having this hatchery here kind of made me think of that. And, well, let's see. EGIdrA does have the 2 upgrades for his Zerglings. Let's see. Marines. Looks like they're getting that +3 right now. Actually, wow, he caught up. Looks like he has 2 armor as well. And the vehicle weapons +2 is going on at the same time. Muta's now flocking over. Flocking. There's a lot of missile turrets here. I don't know if it's going to be able to flock for too long if he tries to go into that no-fly zone. And here he comes. Nope, that's a lot. He's got to turn back. He's got to be like, alright, that's just too many. Yeah, there's another push. He has that Zergling there, of course, to know that it's coming. And, well, there's some banelings here still. But, yeah, I was going to say, you really want to take out that creep before that scan goes away. Okay, how are we going to siege up this time? You've been sieging up kind of sporadically today in these casts, so I'm really curious to know how you're going to do it. Alright, 2 there. Let's see, a little bit of a spread now. Nope, apparently it's going to gun forward. Alright, well, that's not too bad. That's pretty good. Alright, well, this looks like this queen's going to be sieged and killed. Creep tumors on the top ledge here. Not going to be killed as he does not have a scan down. But it looks like this hatchery is going to be killed. Nope, he's going to be not losing the hatchery. Banelings and Zerglings following those Marines around, going to be exploding everywhere, but there's just tanks shelling them from afar. And wow, actually I missed a little bit of some bloody Mutalisk deaths here. I believe there was a couple Zerglings with that as well, just kind of flanking around from the back end. But yeah, just that tank spread was pretty good. And without that creep, you know, it's pretty hard to bust in there. The Muslim actually having a pretty good spread with that as well, so actually playing pretty darn well overall. And well, the units are going to be trying to do some kind of a counterattack here, but there's just too many Marines here. It's going to be, I thought he was going to fly right over them. You know, it's just so sad to see EGIdrA make that kind of mistake. Like, he just moves his mutas the wrong way one time, and like they all die, and it's like, oh god, that feels so terrible. But anyways, looks like the tech is going to be destroyed here a little bit. Nope, it's actually a lot alive here still. Muta's trying to come in from the backside, and while he's just lost all of his mutas, that's going to be a good game. Yeah, not even a good game. EGIdrA just leaves. He just, I don't know. He just wasn't able to expand early on, you know. It's, you know, I feel like he could have, you know, specifically this game he could have. He didn't find that extra base, of course, but I mean, he expanded way later than you normally would as or to take your third. And I believe the reason is because the map is what it is. You know, if you take out the rocks, that's kind of doesn't feel awesome, or you have to expand over here, and that's kind of like, okay, you know, that's kind of like your opponent, you know, it's just like telling your opponent, oh, I want you to drop me, so you don't want to take that expansion. And well, you know, then of course this small ramp makes it hard to engage down here, which is why you want to have really good creep spread all over the place and whatever. But yeah, once again, this is not like a tournament game or anything like that, so EGIdrA just kind of losing, saying whatever. He took that, you know, if he watches this replay, I'm sure he's going to be like, oh man, I didn't find that expansion, I'm so dumb, or something, you know. So, anyways, that's going to be it for me casting today. Kind of a short one. Generally speaking, I do cast for a little bit longer, but I don't know, today I'm not really in the best mood for casting, I guess. I don't know, it's just kind of one of those days. Everything's kind of happening really slowly, and I'm not really sporadic with things, but it looks like I'm doing alright. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, this is Magic signing off. So you could probably catch me on every Sunday around this time. Generally speaking, maybe at like 6:30, 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30. I'm gonna have more of a regular time when I get more of a regular schedule once again. So once I have more of a working schedule for myself, I can work in some casting and all that good stuff. So for now, I'm just gonna have to check out some replays when you can, or whatever, or if, I don't know if I should probably check that. I'm not sure if this is actually working on Team Liquid, because I haven't been around to check it, but hopefully it is. So yeah. Anyways, once again, Magic signing off. Have a good night.